The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs. Sharing our vulnerability. Overcoming our fears. Transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is... This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Wes Watson, the American fitness trainer, speaker, and ex-convict. You grew up in San Diego skating, surfing, and snowboarding, but then got involved in dealing marijuana. This began a downward spiral, which ultimately led to a 10-year term in the California penitentiary system. Upon release, you used lessons learned in confined isolation to reform your life and launched your company, Watson Fit. Your YouTube channel, GP Penitentiary Life, has 40 million views and inspires others with candid and often gruesome stories from the penal system. Throughout the global coronavirus pandemic, you have continued to dispel wisdom on how to survive and thrive in times of lockdown. Wes, welcome back to London Real.
I love it. Thanks for having me back. That New York trip was a game changer, life changer. So I appreciate it, Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, well, a lot of people know we sat down in New York City. I mean, 3 months ago, really, just over 3 months ago. Who would have thought all of this stuff would happen? I'm so glad we made that personal connection. And you know what? I've been watching your stuff all the time. I first just want to say, heads up to everybody. Go subscribe to GP Penitentiary Life. Go follow Wes on Watson Fit at Instagram, because it's just game-changing stuff. And it doesn't get old, Wes. I've been following your stuff for 8 months now, and I still find your videos inspiring to me. They remind me what's important. They remind me to be grateful. They remind me to be a leader. They remind me that these hard times are nothing compared to what they could be and how we can learn from them. So, man, I just want to say I'm super grateful to you as a human being. Honestly, I think you're one of the greats because you have a pure message that is not about you, it's about everyone else. And Wes, you're one of a kind. What can I say, man? You're one of a kind.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. And everything you're doing for us is amazing. I mean, we need you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, man. It feels good to be part of something, part of you. And you always say, do it for your people. And it's a great way of thinking about your people. And for different people, your people might mean different things. It might mean your immediate family. It might mean your friends. It might mean your followers. It might mean your country if you're a leader of a country. But everybody has people. And that ultimately gets you to step up your own game because you care about somebody out there. And that can get you to step up your game. I just turned 49 yesterday, Wes. And some of the things I'm grateful for is I'm still here. There were times in my life due to my own actions that I almost wasn't on this planet due to addiction and overdose. I'm 2.5 years almost sober. I got these beautiful kids running around, 3 and 4 years old. I know you got a son as well. I got a stepdaughter, and I'm doing work that means something to me. So honestly, I have that concept, meditate on your death every day, and I'm not ready to go. But if I went now, I'm probably the closest I am to ever being ready. And that means I hopefully have been trying to live my life to the best I could every day. I still have a lot of flaws and things I want to correct, but that's where I'm coming from now. And you talk about people dealing with darkness and dealing with addiction and dealing with going into the self and into the physical. Let's just start off at 30,000 feet, Wes. What have you witnessed going on in this world the last 3.5 months? And how does your unique frame of reference give you insight into this that someone like me or the normal person wouldn't see?
I mean, coming from where I've come from, it's a gratitude test. Life is one big gratitude test. And during coronavirus, everything went south for a lot of people. So they're getting to know how grateful they truly are. Their capacity for being grateful, which they've created throughout their life, they're getting a front row seat to that. So the fact is that they need to realize that when everything's going your way, that's not who you are. That's not who you are when everything's going your way and everything's great. Who you are is when everything is taken from you, if you can still stay grateful, if you can still stay positive. This is the definition of a man. This is who we are. So me learning how to stay grateful, be positive, find inner peace, stay focused, stay motivated in the penitentiary, in a bathroom for over a year straight, not stepping out of it one time, learning to stay grateful in that mode was what made me able to stay grateful now with sitting on the 20th floor in one of the nicest buildings downtown San Diego of my own creation, because I became grateful before I tried to become. A lot of people think they're going to be happy and then they'll be grateful once they're happy. You got to be grateful first and then you become happy. And grateful means really counting what's working for you and letting the one thing that's negative in your life go very quickly and looking at the 99 blessings that you have in front of you.
Yeah, and you were, I mean, for clarity, you spent 14 months, I think, locked down in a cell, basically the size of a bathroom, and you didn't get to go out. So you managed to stay focused and sane through a physical practice, through a mental practice. And I've heard you say, Wes, that you were actually at sometimes even happier back then and more at peace with yourself than times that you've been on the outside, which most people could never conceive of. How is that possible?
Well, yeah, I was in a complete alignment. At those times, I was in complete alignment because I was working to create the vision I had of self physically. I was reflecting on all my internal issues, solving them internally because I had no external way to solve these internal issues, like devices that everybody thinks solves the internal issues, the overconsumption of television, food, drugs, substances. That's what people turn to when they have an internal issue. But I didn't have any of that. So I had to go inside to solve these internal issues. And that was by me reflecting, understanding, having fail safes to combat this turmoil inside when it came about. And then the most important aspect was that I really acted. I went into physical action to negate any negative self-talk, any personal just states of negative energy, low vibration. I went into the mode of being accountable to my energy, my vibration, by feeling it and saying, I'm dropping right now. I'm in charge of raising myself. So I would raise myself multiple times a day through physical activity and then jump right into something, reflect upon some deep writing, and then solidify those affirmations that built me into the person I am today by just habitually creating that mindset through a solid daily process, which I preach more than anything, that solid daily process that is going to bring you up to be the person you need to be. People think success is a hack or some way they're going to be as successful as me and Brian if someone gave them the in. Success is a byproduct of personal development. Your level of personal development is what brings success in your life. Your success will never exceed your level of personal development. It's something we attract by the person we've become.
Yeah, and I've been meditating on you saying that for the last few days. And it's so true. You know, when I look at my life, it's like I didn't get the success until I was ready for the success because I hadn't yet solved my internal issues, which we're never taught that in this life in the Western world, Wes. It's always like, oh yeah, you get the money because you did the hit record. No, you would have never made the record unless you had that internal piece that allowed you to put out that great emotions in a music. And then that's why people vibrated, right?
Love it. I love it because you were tapped in. You were in alignment. You were doing what you're supposed to be. You were in that flow state, that state of now. And your creation was at its utmost, at its highest degree. So what you were putting out was a pure message. That was a pure message in the form of music, the way I speak, the way you deliver the interviews, the way everybody delivers the message they're bringing from infinite intelligence. And what people don't get, they always want this message, but you have to learn to be a quality facilitator of the message. And the way you become a quality facilitator of the message is to re-deliver it and spend time packaging it correctly for others so that they can consume it.
Right. It just needs to flow through you and not be about you. That's one of I think the most important things to realize. And again, you say that there's only universal truths. So, and I love it when you say this, Wes, you're like, look, you know, people say it's listen to Tony Robbins or listen to this person, listen to that person, listen to the Bible. It's like, it's all the same message. It's universal truths that happen to be channeled through certain people that channel it better or we resonate with more, but it's the same message, right?
Same message, same exact message. Where I like to tell people, I'm not a great writer. I'm not a great speaker. I'm not any of these things. I'm a great listener. So I wake up in the morning, I spend time with myself. And when I spend time with myself and I go deep within, that's when I enter the stream of consciousness. in the stream of consciousness, you are just delivering a message. So when you realize it's not you and you're not going to selfishly create content to further your financial status, this, that, the other, you'll come out with a completely different message that resonates with people on a whole different level.
Yeah, it's a game changer. I mean, look, for most of my life when I was in banking, Wes, it was like about how much money can Brian make? How much money can Brian make? And you can engineer that and you can work it hard and you might be able to force something out of it. But at the end, I was depressed, alone, drinking myself to death in a, 3-story apartment here in Shoreditch. And it wasn't until I started producing content for the sake of it and putting it out there and putting people's messages out there that my whole life started changing. I got positive vibrations. I got positive people in my life. And it literally led to the birth of my children. It led to all this stuff. But it was when I kind of released my own selfish needs that I could let it flow. But man, it took me 40 years to figure that out.
Well, you're one of the rare people who shows all sides. So the people who will show all sides, they'll show vulnerability, they'll show passion, they'll show anger, they'll show everything. Those are the people who aren't capping the message. I don't come with content. I don't create content. I'm against creating content. I just let it flow. And then I believe that message is hitting the people it's supposed to hit that day. So the point is are you doing stuff selfishly or selflessly? When we operate out of a selfless mode for our motivation, then we're blessed with the rate of vibration that increases us tenfold and people resonate much more with. The fact is a lot of people who are into energy, rate of vibration, and their frequency and leveling up in that manner, they'll be like, I stay away from low vibration, negative people. And the fact is, to me, that's absurd because it would mean more if you were able to bring someone from the bottom up. So the point is I've been at the bottom. So if wisdom is the ability to see the miraculous in the common, then I have to know that once someone saw something in me and gave me the boost I needed. So that's where I have to be. That's who I need to be.
Wow, man, that's powerful in itself. Let's talk about vices, man. Let's just jump into this. You were at my movie premiere in New York City, and I gave a tearjerker of a speech beforehand. But for people that don't know, I struggled with alcohol and drugs and heroin in the end in a big way. And I think it was because I dealt with my internal struggles by going to vices. And I learned that early on, Wes. When I was a teenager, I just was like, I don't know. I had the drink. And when I went to college, I had the drinks to kind of just get rid of the tension and the anger I had. And at Wall Street, it happened and it compounded with drugs and heroin until I had the overdose. It took me a long time to get over that. And I know in this lockdown period, a lot of people have gone to the vices. And I know in prison, a lot of people don't realize this, but the access to drugs is almost even more so than on the street. And you had to struggle with that, but then at some point you realized that wasn't the solution. And I'm curious, how do you explain it to people that are listening that they might be struggling themselves or might not be happy when they turn to the drink or the drugs or whatever it is, sex or retail. And how do you start having that conversation with someone that's only a byproduct of something internally you haven't settled? Because I wish I could have figured that out when I was 30.
Well, I just like to say those people don't realize they are the most powerful people. So the people who turn to vices, it's because they have such strong natural emotions. And they don't realize that their naturally emotional state, if they use that to run to personal growth, to run towards positive acts, they are the people who excel very quickly, because it's not a selfish motivation of, hey, I just want to look better or this or that. It becomes emotional. Like I want to make my mom proud. I want to make my son proud. And that can work up an amount of power in me in a split second. And people don't realize that. The mother who's emotionally motivated to lift the car off her trapped son. Where did she get that power? It's known to happen. And the point is when the people who turn to vices, addictions, and this of that sort, they don't really realize that they're trying to numb those massively strong emotions they have. And when they turn that to positive action, they use it for their benefit, they'll tap into power that they never knew they had and be exponentially living at their highest potential. It's just crazy. These are the people who usually make it. The Robert Downey Jr.'s, the people like myself, you, Brian. We're operating from a different source of motivation, and it's just deeper. There's more of an attachment. It's nothing superficial. It's deeply contrived from within through tears, through pain, through everything we've been through, and we put more into it.
Yeah, when I did that Ironman race a couple years ago, and throughout the whole movie and the making of it, I, for the first time, was really public about my struggle with addiction and overdose. And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, fucking heroin's a scary word to be dropping on all your friends and friendly and your wife, who you haven't told for 16 years. And for me, I wrapped all that up in my training. And at the end, when I crossed that finish line, man, I just had tears streaming down my face, because it was like a redemption, you know? And so now it's like I bring all of that energy, like you said, to everything I do every day. And I feel like I owe a lot of people to come correct and to show up. So during all this lockdown and all this stress over the last 8 weeks, I mean, not once was I ever tempted to go back to a vice. Never. I didn't even think about it until a couple days ago. And I was like, oh yeah, because for me, it's just, I've channeled all that energy into something creative or something to pay back, if that makes sense.
Well, habitually, you've created someone that runs to personal growth instead of vices. I mean, our subconscious is created by our habits, and our emotions are what instills something into our subconscious. So naturally, coming from prison, I'm in a massively emotional state 24/7. And prison is extremely habitual, because you have a program of politics being forced upon you by your own gang. Your own race is forcing you a wake-up time, a mandatory workout, mandatory everything. You have all these things that you have to do every day, and you're majorly emotional at the time. So you're instilling this into your subconscious at a greater degree. Your subconscious is then controlling you. That's why so many people fall victim to what's known as cognitive dissonance, because they'll have like two conflicting beliefs. Like they'll want to be ripped and work out, but they'll believe that they can have pizza too and eat this way too. And the point is they just haven't solidified it into their subconscious by being strict and structuring those core beliefs that they really want this. This is what they want. And the point is that's why the obsessed individual is the massively successful one, because he knows exactly what he wants. He goes directly after it, and there is no detours. So it becomes something habitual that we instill in our subconscious by staying the path until it's harder to break the path.
Yeah, and so the lesson is for someone who is prone to those vices. And I remember I actually didn't go to AA much, but I think I went to one meeting one time, and the guy said, to say that an alcoholic isn't motivated is crazy. This is the guy that'll walk 20 miles for for a little airplane bottle size of vodka, to get his fix on. So like you said, these people have a lot of energy. It's just they don't know how to channel it. So for anybody who struggles with those vices, I mean, is it important to realize that ultimately the vices are you trying to mask something and to try to take the easy way out of a personal development? And when you see that, to realize maybe I should just not pick up that day and try to go into that pain, that fear, and try to figure it out, and then I'll be all powerful. Is that the best advice to give to someone who, they say we've been drinking, Wes, 240% more since the lockdown. So if someone's struggling.
That's the crazy thing, is because I don't even see it. Like I don't even understand that people drink, do drugs or anything like that more, because I'm so removed from it. But I get my old self. And the point is I was so destructive. And just the overall thing is to not run from the pain. I mean, the adversity is what introduces a man to himself. Once you know yourself, you get to know your answers. And so when you know your answers, when you truly become accountable and say, this drinking is fucking my life up. It's causing me massive pain. I lost my wife from it. My kids are looking at me a certain way. My physique's dropping. My health is dropping. I'm looking at myself in a negative way. In all reality, people are depressed. They have lack of self-respect and a lot of things like that. I see, and that's okay because I was like that. But the point is how do you expect to respect yourself if you are honestly disrespecting yourself with an action? So the point is it really comes down to sacking up, getting sick of it, and instilling this new core belief system through these affirmations, through a daily process of discipline. We don't even have addictive problems. We have a discipline problem. So I'm going to attack the root for an individual. I'm going to get them so disciplined that it's hard to break discipline. It becomes their pleasure. So their purpose becomes being more disciplined, and then in turn it becomes their pleasure. That's the way I gained it in the prison system, where being displeased made me extremely happy that I could be displeased and laugh about it and enjoy it and let it motivate me. I could need less and still do more than the next man. The fact that they needed so much, they needed these sweets, they needed these drugs, they needed this stuff, and I just knew that I didn't. was just a sense of power to me. It was a sense of pleasure that I was in so much control, because we all know what it feels like to be out of control and to lack discipline. And the fact is, by fucking definition alone, a man is responsible. That's it. Don't call yourself a man if you're not responsible. And guess what? That's your choice.
Yeah, it's so true. Talk to me about your discipline. You've had the same wake-up call for a long time now. I don't know if it's 10 years, including in and out, but maybe you can tell me. Talk to me about that, and talk to me about how you believe that the physical process, the physical training is non-negotiable when it comes to building one's self-esteem and one's lifestyle.
Well, basically, I mean, I've been getting up at the same time every morning at 2:45 for 13 years. And the point was, at first it was just pain because I couldn't sleep. And that was like the earliest I could just think of getting up to do a workout because I couldn't sleep. And the guys across the block in a 270 building in CDC, which is a high-level security building, and they're looking at my window and they see my feet in the window, and I'm just doing handstand push-ups. And then they have to discipline everybody in the building to tell them, turn your light on at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m., whichever the time was, right after count. So the cops walk by and count you at 4 a.m. And then they would say to turn your light on after count to show that you're up. And then the head guy who had the block, Chili at the time, he goes, Wes, I don't even need your light on. I see your feet in the window well before count. So the point was, it was just the validation of self began coming from the discipline and the conduct and the character, which I respected and which was respected in prison. We didn't have cars, houses, and all this shit. We didn't have nothing to validate ourselves with externally. So it was just how you conducted yourself, how savage you were, how much you could take, how much you could endure. And so that became a pleasure, and it became a status symbol in the prison. Like, that dude will not stop. He hasn't took a day off in 10 years. Look at him. He shows that he hasn't. He looks different than everyone. He acts different. He's more in control. He doesn't slip. You still have problems with these stupid little vices running a train on you. Why can he drop them and you can't? And the fact is that the way we do anything is the way we do everything. So starting off as a leader, you start off as a leader when you're up before everyone. You're up before them. You're up before them doing what they should. So you're solidifying in your subconscious, I'm a leader. I'm up first. And that is the way to start your day, because everybody's a leader. I don't care if it's just your cat you're leading. You are leading somebody. You are leading someone. Make sure you're turning them into an asset by 1, coming with the correct energy, by 2, having the correct actions, and by 3, really fucking caring that they get the result. And sometimes, like we've said before, that means being stern with them. I mean, I say stern with self, kind to others, but we know lack of accountability or too much kindness breeds lack of accountability. So I'm going to get on people's cases who need it. And I'm going to give praise when it's earned. The thing is it's in direct exchange to what's going on.
Yeah, and like you said, someone's always watching, whether it's your cat or your kid or your neighbor or your colleagues. I always tell everybody here, the minute you step in that door, you need to be a leader. And I've had youngins come back and say, but I'm not head of the department. I'm like, yeah, but everyone's watching you. And when you show up dressed well, when you show with the good energy, when you show up with the plan, when you show up with your notebook, everyone's inspired by you. They're going to listen to you. It's going to make everything move forward. And the other person you're always leading is yourself. And so, as I told Gabor Mate when I was sitting here and talking about when I used to drink, every day when I would drink, my self-esteem would go down a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, because I knew I couldn't stand up to these vices. I knew I wasn't staying disciplined. And that just slowly brought me down to nothing. And then the opposite's true. Every day when I got to London on January 3rd, 2002, and I was sober one day, I was like, I got it. Sober another day, I got it. Sober another day, I got it. It's one of the most proudest things I've ever done in my life, get off that smack. And so now I'm building every day. And it transcends everything in your life, these disciplines, right?
100%. I always tell people, wake up and tell yourself who you are. Don't wait for life's circumstances to tell you who you are. If people have to tell you your story, you're not going to like the narrative. They're going to shit on you 90% of the time. Few people are going to pick you up. So wake up and tell yourself who you are with action. If you get up in the manner that I get up and you go straight into something that's building you, that's who you become. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You just end up thinking that way. And as you watch yourself talk come in alignment with your actions, That's how we're building ourselves. We're giving ourselves strength. We're creating who we are with our actions and our self-talk, either taking away or building. People talk to themselves like shit who act like shit. You can't lie to your subconscious. You can't all of a sudden just tell yourself a winner when you're choosing to lose. And these are those small wins I talk about. I talk about stacking wins. Wake up and get your wins. I don't even care if it's the smallest shit. Just make sure you're moving forward so that you know in your subconscious you're not someone who's choosing to lose.
Talk to me about the physical practice, because I've heard you say straight out, I don't care if you're a billionaire, I don't care if you got the New York Times bestseller, but if you don't have a physical practice, you know deep down inside you're not coming correct. How important is it for everyone to have a daily physical practice?
I mean, you just know you're leaving stuff unattended to. So, I mean, the point is your weakness is visible. I pull people's weaknesses right to their eyes when I meet them. I look for it. I'm looking for your weakness, and I'm pulling it right to the front of your face and letting you know that I see it. I don't even care if you're a billionaire. I don't care if I'm going to do some big work with you or anything. And I'm going to level you up through that. I want to create the 10.0 of you because I see your weakness. It's obvious. And the point is if you want to be a leader, if you want to create, if you want to motivate, if you even just want to have a stronger family unit, you have to attend to all weaknesses. The point is everyone wants to glorify their strengths. They want to be like, oh, well, I'm consistent. I go to work every day at this time. Yeah, well, apply that consistency to the next fucking thing. And then guess what? Once you do that, the next thing. So the guy who goes to work every day as a construction worker, well, the next step after he hears my content is to track his macros so that he takes his body fat off. What's so hard about that? If you've already been consistent at that, now apply your consistency to tracking your food and just making a small adjustment. These small adjustments to things we already do that add up to massive changes. The point is you become someone who looks at a plate of food and knows exactly what it does for you. What type of business owner or massive mogul can't look at a plate of food and know he's being destructive? What kind of dude can look at something and guess and be okay with that? You're not operating at your highest level if you have guesswork in any area of your life. Successful people are naturally curious, and if you are denouncing that curiosity, you're not training your brain, so you're not the intellectual you thought you were.
And your body, everybody wants to look better. Everybody wants to be in better shape. And also everybody can gain knowledge by going into the physical and pushing your mental state and pushing yourself. It's one of the easiest ways, right?
Easiest. I mean, the biggest part is you've never seen someone walk out of the gym all pissed off after a hard workout or do 123 burpees and have shitty energy. So first thing first, you're bringing that ROV, that rate of vibration, that energy to people that tells them that they could do it without you even speaking. When you come in at a certain level and you have a certain energy, you're putting that onto people. And they're like, man, you just walked in and you made me feel like I should be fit and I could be. And the point is that is what we're doing here. We're creating assets around us to make our lives better, everybody's life better, by not having haters, by not having so much negativity. And you're not going to force it upon people. They're going to be drawn to it. We don't know why people, I can come on these channels, my channel, and just speak in a certain manner with a certain energy, and people won't know why they're drawn to it, but it's partly because what I'm saying, but partly because the rate of vibration I come at, the energy I come at. I know when my energy's low. I'm not going to get on camera when my energy's low. I'm going to go bring it back up. So when we train ourselves to operate at a certain vibration, a certain rate of a certain frequency and a certain level of energy, we become someone who, that's our new normal. So if you create the new normal of having this dope ass energy, then this is our best way to bring up everybody around us, because the universal language is energy exchange. So the only way you can truly get your people off drugs, the only way you can truly convince them to do a positive action for themselves is to come in with the proper energy, the proper result, and really not show a weakness that they can pinpoint. Because if you're telling them, hey, you need to quit drinking and doing that smack, and they're ripped from being on smack and you're all fat from eating burgers and shit, they're going to be like, fuck you. Look how fat you are. I'm not going to quit the smack. You have a bigger problem with being fat. So the point is you have to level your playing field to be able to be the best teacher, the best facilitator of this universal message, which is complete inner peace and contentment through walking in alignment with your conscience.
And what do you say to people, Wes, that say, I don't like working out. I don't need to work out, or, I hit the treadmill once a week. Do you think they're just missing a golden opportunity to go into self and to just bring different energy to the table? Or are there people like that should just be like that?
I tell them they're fucking selfish. You're a selfish motherfucker. Look how many times you said I in that sentence. Damn. I'm like, fuck, it's all about you, huh? You're not even thinking about your wife or your kids. Fat people raise fat kids. And whatever. I mean, fat people they're not being shunned upon. They're not being shamed. I was fat. I had a chest I didn't like. I had jelly rolls. I didn't live my best life as a youngster growing up because I didn't like taking my shirt off when everyone else could. So I was limiting myself on a simple choice of this food or that food. And the point is so why are you so selfish? You really you love your kid that much, supposedly, but you won't drop the drink. You won't drop those foods. You won't extend your life to spend it better with him and be a better example, but you say you love him. So this is my reason for self-investment. My reason for self-investment is because self-investment is the only true depiction of self-love. You can only say you love yourself as much as you invest in yourself. This ain't that Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, doggone it, everybody likes me shit. Those fake-ass affirmations aren't real if the actions aren't there. So the point is, your actions towards self-love, your self-investment is a depiction of self-love. We are creating our capacity to love and give love. It starts within. So we're creating that love within in the morning with our self-investment process. So therefore, we can give it at the level at which it was created within. The fat dad who drinks an 18-pack, who woofs down burgers, he loves his son. He does. At the capacity at which he loves his motherfucking self. And that's not much. So he only knows his capacity. He can only give at his capacity for love. I love a motherfucker so much in the pen and out here that I'm willing to put my most treasured asset, my inner peace and contentment, on the line to level them up. And that's what people don't get sometimes. Like, well, why do you care so much to tell people these truths if it gets you backlash? I'm like, because later they're going to shake my fucking hand for waking them up.
Why do you care so much, Wes?
Because I know what pain is. I know true pain. And I know everybody's got it. Your pain, my pain, it's all the same. The 14-year-old who's getting made fun of because he's fat, he wants to die. Like, he really feels like, I want to die today. Everybody in my class made fun of me. Do you know how painful that is? That's just as painful as being in the pen and being hopeless, wanting to die. There's no difference. You wanted to die at that moment. There is no fucking difference. And it's tragic. It's straight up tragic that we're not pushing self-development and self-love and personal development at the highest level. This is where everything starts. And then once we have the confidence, once we've created the individual that's in alignment with what we see, then we can go after our true life's purpose, our true path. And this only comes from walking into adversity head on and saying, I'm ready, I got this. I'm going to prove I'm grateful for this one life I've been given every day. And I'm going to open up the doors to infinite intelligence by using the strongest emotion known to man, which is gratitude.
Yeah, and I want to talk about gratitude. Wes, when a lot of people watch your videos, and like I would say, for example, everybody now go watch, the 6 or 8 of the last Wes videos on his GP Penitentiary Life. I mean, they're intense, man. When I first saw you, I was like, whoa, I don't know what this guy's all about. But now when I watch him, I just treasure the energy because you remind me a little bit of Dan Pena. You're like, come on, guys. Like, I see so much in you. If you could just step up and grab it, not only would you be better, but as a collective, we'd be better. That's the vibe I get from you. But for most people, it's so intense. Talk about that.
I mean, your growth is never going to be packaged how you want it. It's not going to be packaged how you want it. Your growth comes in the complete opposite form. It's uncomfortable. I'm going to make you so uncomfortable because it's the truth. And you need to step into that. If it's ringing true to you, you need to accept it and walk in alignment with it. I've helped my wife cure alcohol. The whole time it was a battle. We did it in 6 months. She had been drinking her whole life up until now, and then we cured it in 6 months. The point is, it was a battle. They think you're against them, but you have to stand firm. So it's a win for both people. It teaches you to be patient. It teaches you to have long view with them. It teaches you to believe in them more. So the point is both people win from this, but it's massively difficult when you see so much in people and they're refusing to step up. But that's where we excel. We're okay with that. I have a gift of seeing the 10.0 version of someone, their optimal self, that I have a hard time believing they don't see. When I talk to my clients, I'm like, create your highest self to me, the appearance of your highest self, your higher self's actions, the demeanor, and the energy at which your higher self possesses. So step back, look at who you see yourself as at your highest version, your greatest potential, and have that individual operate your life with you. And that changes the whole dynamic. Don't come out to the battle unprepared. Come as your best self, best energy, best demeanor. Quality actions. You're creating this. People don't realize. They're not seeing it. They don't realize genius is your vision. And to adhere to your vision is the only genius we will all know. Everyone who has ever saw as being crazy when they had a massive invention that was pure imagination, they brought that into fruition and changed our existence. And at once they're like, what do you mean you're going to fly across the fucking water in a plane? And then the dude pulled it off. So, whatever your true vision is what must be done, because that is your genius. And like I've said before, talent hits a target nobody else can hit, but genius hits a target nobody else can see. Your vision is your genius. To walk in alignment with your vision is what creates your life's purpose. And I've said before that our life's purpose is to create the individual we admire in every way, to give that individual away. So the point being is, I believe we are the path. We are the path, and construction of that immaculate individual is the path, and we never stop. It's an ongoing path. There's no end to it. So what does that do? That creates someone who just loves to endure. That creates a person whose amount of fortitude is it's extensive. There's no end to it. And so, the point is we're conditioning ourselves by having the thought process of knowing, I started this, I'm never ending this. The person who operates like that cannot lose.
Man, there's so much stuff there, Wes. I love the genius hits a target no one can see. That's so powerful. And you said we all have that target inside of us. We all have our vision. And your vision, and I'm quoting you on this, is something that everyone's going to shit on at first and maybe for a long time. And that's because it's yours and no one else can see it. But if you're true to it, you're going to hit something that no one ever saw, ever saw, and you're going to make something come to fruition. And when you do, everyone's going to congratulate you and tell you they always knew you were going to do it, right? That's how it works.
They always knew it. You were going to make it. I had people tell me there's no way you're going to fucking be able to support a family off online coaching. Now I can support 10 families. But the point is, I gave worth. I came out. It was the hero's journey. I went into the most painful experience of my life and came back with everything in my heart that worked for me. And I knew that would resonate with at least 10% of the world's population, if not more, if not all of us. So the point is I came out to heal. I had to. That's what worked for me. The money never worked for me. None of that I was successful before I went in. I was in a better building downtown before I got busted with an equally expensive car and equally as much money. But I was making it such a shitbag manner that it corrupted me. It threw away who I was. So I was punished inside. I was dealing with karmic debt consistently, never enjoying it. The point is, that guy who's dealing with karmic debt, he's on the nicest beach in the world and isn't even there. And the person who's operating from a state where he's helping people, he's financially gaining, and he's just providing massive worth and raising himself in general in the process, that's alignment. Helping people, personal development for self is paramount, and then giving worth that in turn is seeds planted of abundance that rains back upon him. Because sometimes people watch my content, they're like, I just had to sign up. I'm true. You changed my life. And those are the people who really get it. They're like, I owe you something. And like with your digital platform, people are giving so much to keep this alive because you're helping them. You're giving them worth and they give it back. So the point is anything we ever wish to keep, we must give it away. So I wanted to keep my inner peace. I wanted to keep my contentment that I found in the worst of places. So I had to come out and give it away. I had to show them the way.
What's karmic debt? How does that work, Wes? Because you're the first guy that's ever really articulated it to me, and it's a powerful concept.
Karmic debt is attachment to a past event. So in the now, we're meant to live in the now. We're so constructive in now. When we're in flow state, we're operating past our personal capacity. We're operating from our higher selves, just optimal level. We're tapped in, flow state enhanced. And the point is when we've acted in a manner, negative acts, then we're punished with that time and we're attached to a past event. So through our negative acts, we're punished with time. There's still 24 hours in the day, but that time is taken from us. So the past event, which is attached to karmic debt, we're still thinking about. We're still attached to it. Like I've said many times, explained it like this, just go be rude to someone. And depending on how rude you are, you'll be attached to that conversation. And if you're an asshole, you'll still be saying it's them. But guess what? You're still attached to that conversation 3 hours ago. And why are you still attached to that? And why are you not now and productive now in this moment using 100% of your capacity? You have 40% left over here because you yelled at that guy. And most assholes are still saying, but he was so stupid. And the point is no, you came out of character. Now you've been punished by the universe with time. That time was taken from you. Karmic debt is being pushed upon you. So with our positive acts, by just being complete positive individuals, walking in alignment with what we know is right, with what our conscience tells us, we are just given our 24 hours a day of productive time. Now that I stay in a positive state 24/7, live in a manner congruent with my conscience, I'm moving up the hill so fucking fast. I'm excelling so quick because I'm not in my way. I'm no longer operating at 30%. If I get in a fight with my wife and I'm wrong, I'm not making any videos. I can't do anything. I call her 100 times back to back and try to make it right because I fucked up, because I'm attached to what I did. Life was just taken from me. Those 4 hours until we become right were removed from my life. I was expelled from enjoying those 4 hours because how I conducted myself. Now the universe punishes you within. And that's the way karmic debt works. And people who can become accountable to karmic debt can see that it's a win-win for both people if we operate that it is a universal truth.
And when you were in the pen, you said those first few years you were paying off karmic debt from the pain that you had caused on people before you went in. Am I right in saying that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I really feel like I didn't feel it lift till about almost 7 years in, that I was still in a state of just massive pain, always choking back tears. And that was what I caused the man that I hurt and went to prison for this time for. So I robbed somebody, and there was a robbery that took place. Someone got massively assaulted, and I went to prison for it for 10 years. And the point was I caused that person, so that person got caused so much pain that it was still being inflicted upon me 7 years into my sentence. Now, about 7 years into my sentence, when I stopped putting small amounts of karmic debt my way from drug use, from the drug use stopped before that, but from small shit, just being an asshole, not living in congruence with my conscience, I felt it lift. And at that moment, my vision became massively clear. I started to see all this take place. This was in about 2015. And I quit everything. I didn't use any drugs. I still had to do certain things that were in line with my gang in prison. But at that moment, my vision became really clear because I wasn't getting in my own way no more, getting punished with karmic debt. This is when I got on Instagram for the first time. I saw how social media could work, how it could be influential, because I read posts on there where people were influential. So then just believing in myself and what has brought me to where I am, I knew I must share what's working for me, whether it works or not. So that's the man who's going to win. The man who conducts himself in line with what he knows right, whether it's going to pay off or not. Like, who gives a fuck if it's going to pay off financially or externally? It was paying off in my heart. I was going to live this way regardless, and had been living this way for a very long time. So the whole thing is so many people, they're like, okay, well, once I have the money, then I'll go be better, or then I'll go do better for people, and then I'll be happy. It's like, no. You got that all backwards. You got to choose to be that individual first, and then go do the stuff, and then you'll have what comes from planting those seeds of abundance. They just got it backwards. They're waiting to move until something comes their way, or there's some sort of embarrassment for their acts, and that's not how we operate.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.